Hi, welcome to Breck Buzz. I'm Shannon Haynes, the Assistant Town Manager for the town of Breckenridge, and I'm here today with our parking guru, Matthew Culver, and our Assistant Public Works Director and Transit Expert, James Phelps. And we want to talk a bit today about parking and transportation. We were here in July. We talked with a couple council members about the decisions council has recently made going forward on our comprehensive parking and transit plan. And today we want to talk some specifics, things that we're doing to start to move this process forward. So to start, we're going to talk with Matthew a little bit about managed parking. Town staff, council members, and some of our other task force members had an opportunity to interview vendors for paid parking, managed parking, which we'll be implementing within the core of town. So Matthew, if you'd tell us a little bit about the decision to go with Parkeon and
Sure.
Why we need managed parking.
Yeah, it's so frustrating to drive downtown, look for a parking spot, and have to circle around several times, and you just can't find a spot. In fact, July was the busiest month on record for traffic on Highway 9, and so we're trying to find a way to manage the vehicles that are coming into town and to create a more convenient way for people to park. And so by introducing managed parking, we hope to create a more convenient user experience, so that when you come to town, you come down Main Street. On every block, our goal is to have one or two open spots, and so parking becomes more convenient. And so that's why we're going towards price parking.
Right.
And we chose Parkeon for several reasons. Parkeon, their technology seemed to be more advanced than their competitors. They spend millions of dollars every year on research and development, and as they upgrade their product, it's something that we can implement into our service. From a user perspective, it's very user friendly. There's a color display screen. You go, and the transaction takes less than 30 seconds from the start of the transaction to the end, and you can be on your way. You can also, when you pay for parking, you don't have to go back to your vehicle. It's pay and go. So you go to the machine, you pay, and then you go about whatever else you want to do, going shopping or dining in town. So there's just some advantages that Parkeon had over its competitors.
So just to kind of clarify that piece a little bit, so there's no coupon. You're not
No.
grabbing a coupon and going back to your car. So
Sure.
how does the machine know your car?
Yeah, it's going to be pay by license plate. And so when we start to put out promotional materials, we're going to make sure to emphasize know your license plate, take a picture of your license plate, so that you can easily go to the machine, put your license plate in, and pay.
That's great. And I know you said they spend a lot of time and a lot of money on research and development, so their technology is kind of heads and tails above other vendors. What are some of the benefits of their technology, and how are people going to manage the system when it's cold and snowy and yucky outside?
Sure. So besides just having the meter option, you can pay just sitting in your car. So if it's cold outside, you can sit in your car, get your smartphone out. You can download the app, you can use your mobile browser, you can text, you can even call to pay. And so you don't even have to go to the meter if you don't want to. And so Parkeon integrates with several mobile payment options, and it's really going to be an easy start to finish process for however you want to pay.
Great, that's wonderful to hear. So you're working on a pretty tight timeline.
Yeah.
We're hoping to implement this for the beginning of the ski season, but kind of starting around December 1st. So what are you planning in the next few months to get that off the ground?
Our next step is working with Public Works, working with community development to make sure we have the right placement for the meters. We're not having a meter for every space. That's a multi-space meter. And so we want to balance keeping the beautiful Victorian downtown feel with convenience. And so we'll likely have about 2 meters per block on each side of the block. And sometimes it may be 1, just depending on what we feel fits for the character of downtown.
Great. And meters, people can expect to see them where?
So you'll see them on Main Street and on Ridge Street. We already have them in several of our what has traditionally been our pay parking lots. And our goal will be to have the cheaper parking further away from downtown, and as you get closer to Main Street being the most expensive. And so we'll have free parking on the south end of town at the ice rink, and free parking at the north side of town at the satellite lot. And then as you get closer to town, or when you're in downtown, if you're not on Main Street, it'll be a little cheaper. And then when you're on Main Street, that's where it'll be the most expensive.
And will we be adding to some of those core lots as well?
We will. So some of the areas behind La Cima and behind, so what's known as the Ice House lot on South Main there, and Courthouse lot and Exchange lot, those will also become paid parking.
Okay. And I know we haven't set a rate structure, but what's the kind of intent of the rate structure? How will we be looking at that in order to set those rates?
Our goal is to have 85% occupancy at any given time, and we're going to start with the lowest possible rate to achieve that. And so when we start the rates, we'll likely have the first half hour will be free, and then each hour after that will increase incrementally. And if we find that only half of a block is taken up with parking, then we'll lower the rates to encourage people to go there. On the other hand, if a street is full 100% of the time to capacity, we may have to raise the rate slightly to have the occupancy go down. And so it's what we call demand-based pricing. And so it's not going to fluctuate every day, but we'll set the prices as low as we can to maintain that 85% occupancy.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Matthew. We're going to take a little break, and we'll be back to you shortly. All right, we're back, and we're going to talk about transit now. We know that with the implementation of managed parking, that there will be some folks who will be displaced off of Main that maybe were making good use of the structure as it previously was implemented, but adding to the fact that we were very, very busy in the core of town, and finding on-street parking was extremely difficult. So in order to kind of help, encourage folks to not drive, and to accommodate those folks that are no longer going to be able to park on Main Street, we're adding some amazingly increased transit service. So James, why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely, Shannon. It's been an exciting season, and Town Council has been very supportive of a lot of our initiatives over the years. And this year, in conjunction with the Nelson Nygaard DTJ study, we are adding quite a bit of transportation. So this year, we're standing on a brand new trolley, which is very exciting. And this route will operate on Main Street, and it will operate on a 20-minute cycle interval. And it'll go from Breck Station, operate on Main Street up to the ice rink, and then back to City Market and Breck Station. And the goal in this is really to utilize the commuter lots or the outlying lots, both the ice rink and then also the satellite lot, which I'll speak to here in a minute, as areas that the employees can park. So we're really looking to put more service into the areas that we know that people are already taking advantage of, and we're also hoping that folks will take better advantage of some of these areas that have parking available. In addition to that, another route that we're putting on the ground is a purple route, a purple number 2 route. This route will actually go in an opposite direction of our current purple route, and it'll leave the station every 15 minutes in opposite directions. And so really what this additional route will provide is more opportunity for individuals in the Wellington neighborhood, Wisehorn, County Road 450 area to gain access to transportation on a more frequent basis. In addition to that, we're also, I mentioned that we have the satellite lot out here. And that's another area that we've further enhanced over last year in terms of making improvements for the employees and the overnight guests that utilize that lot. Now, most people will know this area as the overflow skier parking lot, so it's adjacent to that area. And Public Works has already been working on enhancements in terms of lighting, a bus shelter, pavement, and we'll have a very identified area that the employees will be able to have access 15 minutes or better service beginning at 6 o'clock in the morning each day until midnight throughout the day. So we're really excited about offering that service. That service will also be supplemented by the yellow route, which will go by on Airport Road, which will really be less than a block away. So there'll be quite a bit of service that will be available to individuals that are utilizing that satellite overflow lot. In addition to that, we're also we're adding a number 3 brown bus, so we can maintain 15-minute service intervals for the brown route, which services Warriors Mark and the ice rink, and it really provides quick access and very reliable frequency for individuals that park in the ice rink that may work in the village area or Beaver Run areas. So we're very excited about that service as well.
Right, that's great. And that is, like you said, a lot of service. So we must need more staff, right?
You hit it right on the head, Shannon. It's the service plan we're delivering this year is definitely increasing the drivers that we've had over last year. And so we just started our recruiting. We've been recruiting, I guess, but we're really making a full groundswell right now to recruit more drivers.
Right.
And so if anybody is interested in applying for the free ride, please visit the www.Town of Breckenridge website. Under the Jobs tab, you'll find more information there on the process. And yes, we're absolutely looking for more drivers over what we had last year.
Great, thank you. One of the other items that we mentioned when we talked to the council members in July was that we're looking for other partners to help us potentially with rideshare options they're in the areas that aren't currently serviced by transit or during times when our transit doesn't run. So we had put out a request for proposal, and we received back 2 very interesting proposal options from rideshare vendors. They're very different from one another, and not only interested in partnering with the town of Breckenridge, but with partnering with each other. So we are going to be doing in-person interviews with those 2 in the near future, and really hope to have some exciting announcements to make before December 1st about some additional partnership opportunities and options for folks to not drive their cars and use some kind of alternative transportation to get around. So more to come on that. James mentioned all of the transit options that we're really hoping will help employees. But that said, we still have our employee parking permit program, which is generally staying the same as it's been in the past, but with a few changes. So Matthew, maybe you could just talk a little bit about that program.
Yeah. And we know employees are the lifeblood of the town. Mm-hmm. Like they make the town run, they make the town go. And so we, with the added transit service, we really feel like we've helped made it as convenient as we can for employees to maybe park at the satellite lot. I know that the bus in the morning from 6 to 9, mm-hmm. The red route that stops there at the satellite lot, besides just coming into town, it's also going to go down Main Street and then Park Avenue, and can drop employees at stops that's close to where they work. And so that's every 15 minutes.
The service for that will be 15 minutes or better, beginning again at 6 a.m. and all the way through to midnight.
Yeah. So for employees who don't need their vehicle every hour or every few hours, we really would encourage them to park at the satellite lot, or the ice rink is serviced by transit very frequently. It's scheduled every 12 minutes, but a lot of times it's more frequent than that, just based on when ski resort buses show up too. And so we really want to promote that. And the main change to parking this year for employees, for downtown core employees, is that the price of permits has gone from $50 to $100. And we know that's not sitting well with some people, but the goal is for some people to stop and consider, do I want to get a permit, spend the extra money, or maybe I'll just take the free option, park at the ice rink, park at the satellite lot, and come into town. So we're really hoping to change some behavior that way. But the rest of the permits pretty much stay the same for downtown employees. There's convenient parking so for $100 you can have some parking some of it is designated employee-only parking. So the East Sawmill lot, a portion of the Tiger Dredge lot, is for employees only. That usually fills up early in the morning, so you gotta get to work early if you want to get to that. Another great spot to park is on French Street and in the Clack Placer lot. Last year, occupancies in those areas was less than 70% throughout the winter. So you can almost always find some employee parking in those locations. If someone works outside of the downtown core, we do have some options for out of core employees, which is really everything west of Park Avenue would be out of the core. And we have a permit lottery currently going on for the Clack Placer lot. If people are interested in that permit, they need to get their applications to us by September 21st, and we'll do a drawing. And there's also the option to park in the employee designated area at the satellite lot. It's a free permit, but they still need to come and talk to us about that. So we have options available, and again, that information is available at the town website, townofbreckenridge.com/parking. You can find more information out about those permits.
And the reason for the necessity for the free permit, because some people may think, well, it's a free lot anyway, why the permit?
Sure. Yeah, why do I need a
right? Why do I need a
permit?
permit? What are they?
Exactly.
What are the reasons for that?
So in the satellite lot, there's an area that's designated for employee only and for overnight parking. So skiers can't park there. And so if someone parks there and they don't have an overnight permit and they don't have an employee permit, then they would be likely to get a ticket for parking there. And so we're trying to create a space that's separate from skier parking for employees to have that convenient, close right to the shuttle stop parking.
Right, because it is very close to the shuttle shelter, the bus shelter, and the light, the lit sidewalk area. So
right, and the sidewalk you can walk. Now there's a sidewalk that goes. The road is paved, so you can get to Airport Road easily to jump on the yellow route if you want.
Right. Right. And in addition to that, employee-only parking in East Salmo last year, you let some overflow into Wellington lot. Is that correct?
That's right. And so and we're trying to do things based on occupancy. And last year we had said employees can't park in the Wellington lot. Well, then looking at the numbers, Monday through Thursday, the lot was underutilized.
Right.
And so we're going to allow employees to park there again this year, Monday through Thursday. Again, trying to get to that 85% mark of occupancy.
Great. Thank you very much. All right. We want people to walk. We've talked about walkability has been a big part of our conversation over the last 6 months. And we're looking at changes to some key sidewalk areas in town, but they require a bit more planning and consideration. We've talked about 4 O'Clock Road. People have probably heard us talk about widening those sidewalks and heating them. As we did further analysis, we found we could be encroaching on the roadway, which is problematic for snow removal, and plows and buses trying to pass each other in a narrow roadway doesn't particularly work well. So we're continuing to look at that and look at our options. But in the meantime, we are going to make some changes to lighting in some key areas and the safety of pedestrian crossing near the village. So James, you want to tell us about that?
Correct. Probably an area that a lot of people can identify with, whether as a pedestrian or a motorist, is the area around the village and Park Avenue Lofts, making that crossing over into F lot. And so really what Public Works and Engineering has embarked on is doing pedestrian enhancements there that include better lighting, or even better lighting is probably a little bit subjective. We're bringing out new lighting with PED activated flashing pedestals, so pedestrians will get at least a flashing light for their egress across that intersection. In addition to that, we're going to be, within Public Works, we're going to be putting out some pavement markings, which there again, it'll identify that area that we really want people to cross at. And again, the goal of this is to provide a safe area for people that they feel safe to cross at an intersection. So those enhancements, it's all a package, and we are excited on having that all in place by the beginning of the ski season. So that we're very excited about that intersection. Another area that we're looking at too, for increased lighting, is just the pedestrian walkway or the egress from the F lot down into town. And so staff has identified a number of lights that we are essentially going to retrofit with a higher lumen light and better, a little bit higher wattage, but mainly it's the lumens that give the brightness to the lighting. And really, the goal in that is to provide people with a better identifiable corridor that they feel safe and that they know that there's something that they're walking towards, and also making it much easier to see along that pathway. We've also made some enhancements on Airport Road, increase some of the lighting for anybody that's traveled on that road. We'll certainly see that we've made some additional crosswalk or enhanced a crosswalk along that section of road, and that also includes some additional lighting too to make that a little bit more visible for some of the evening hours of the time. So in addition to that, staff is evaluating really the lighting of really most of the commercial core areas of town and those high traffic pattern areas. We really want to double down on that in terms of making sure that it's safe, inviting, and comfortable for people to walk around town.
Right.
So.
And I know some folks have some real concerns about dark sky compliance and making sure that we maintain the beauty of the night here. Lighting is very technical, but could you just kind of give us a layman's review? Are we going to be dark sky compliant?
We absolutely still will be dark sky compliant. It's a term that some can align with or some know well, and while others might not have some of the technical knowledge of it. But kind of in a layman perspective, it's just having light that's downcast, and really we don't want light to escape up into the atmosphere. We don't want to be known as Breckenridge when the astronauts see us from the moon or something. So.
Yep. Excellent. Well, thank you both very much. Do you have anything to add in your respective? We're very excited. As you can tell, we're very excited.
A lot of changes, but I think I think the addition of managed parking will end up being better for locals and for guests to town, because people will have an easier time parking and finding parking by just changing some behavior, and so I think it's going to be really beneficial for the town.
Right. And I do think it's important to note there's still a lot of other projects in the works. To speak to the village at Breck, we are doing the safety enhancements there, but that doesn't mean that we've stopped looking at the concern of the issues caused by the large number of folks crossing there during peak times, and that will be part of the evaluation we're doing that is required by CDOT if we want to install roundabouts on Park Avenue. So that is in the process as well of having an engineering group and folks come and look at that access points and how roundabouts would work, and pedestrian crossings will be part of that evaluation. So there's a lot of other pieces in the works. We're looking at a technology piece for figuring out how long your bus will take to get to you. So we didn't mention that. Maybe you just talk for a second on that.
That's a great point, Shannon. Currently, we are looking at enhancing the technology that we have right now, and really what we're striving for is technology that will provide riders with that real-time information of when the bus is going to arrive at the stop. So we've identified a number of stops that we want to enhance with basically LED boards that'll say bus arrives in X amount of minutes. And so from a rider standpoint, you'll have a more comfortable understanding of when the bus is going to be there versus trying to possibly figure out the schedule or trying to understand where it goes and so forth. So that's one of the most exciting pieces of the technology piece that we're looking to roll out, just having that real-time information for riders. There's more to come on that, and it'll probably here very shortly we'll be looking to have some more information released on that.
Great.
So.
And I know, Matthew, we don't have a whole lot to say on it right now, but you're also looking at technology options that will allow us the ability to let people know where parking is available.
Right. So we're looking at several options right now to get information. So if I'm coming into town, I'll be able to pull up an app and see which parking lots have space available. So again, we want to limit the amount of circling that people do. Studies show that on average 30% of traffic is people looking for parking. And so we want to be able to direct people to parking when they're coming into town. And so those are some things we're looking at very closely.
Great.
And we are looking to somehow integrate those two technologies so that potentially from one app, a customer, a guest, would be able to see both the transit options and then also the parking options available. So we believe it exists.
Mm-hmm.
We'll find out very shortly, but that's
Right.
certainly our intention to try to have those two together as one under one application. So.
Yeah, so a lot more to come, and capacity is not forgotten in all this. We know that in order to add net new capacity within the core of town, there's a lot of things that we need to do proactively so that we decrease the amount of traffic so we can add that capacity in the core. So we continue to work to look at where the best places or place will be to add new capacity within the core. So a lot of things and going on, and we'll be coming back with more updates. The website is a good place, though, to get information as we move along.
Sure. So again, townofbreckenridge.com/parking will give you updates, especially on employee parking. And as we get closer to launching the managed parking, we'll have more information there on how to pay and the mobile options that are available. And we're also going to be doing a number of community forums to help people learn where the app is and where to find the information. So we'll be doing community meetings, social media blitz, working with the Breckenridge Tourism Office, paid advertisements. I mean, anything we can do to help with this transition, we're gonna try to do.
Right, great. And then in one other place to find information, we always do a public projects update for council. In addition to that, we've added a parking and transportation update, and that is at every work session, so second and fourth Tuesday of every month. If you can't make it to the meeting, the packets are also published, and you can go to our website. I think it's the I Want to Know tab, and you can sign up to get an email notification with a link to the packet. So it's another great way to keep up on all of these changing and evolving projects as we move forward. So thank you both very much, and thank you for having us.